Gunfire cracked across the canyon like thunder, scattering echoes through the red cliffs. Taka Red Hawk, once the proud leader of the Comanche, lay broken in the dust. Blood seeped from his shoulder, dark and warm against the cold earth. The air reeked of smoke and sweat, his horse, his brothers, his tribe gone. All that remained was the dull roar of defeat and the mocking silence that followed. He dragged himself toward a patch of shade beneath a withered mesquite, every inch carved from agony. The wind whispered through the rocks, carrying voices of his ancestors, reminders of vows he could no longer keep. His hand closed around a handful of sand, letting it slip through trembling fingers. Once he commanded fear. Now he could barely command breath. Memories of his wife's gentle laughter blurred with the sting of failure. He was a dying man in a dying land. As his eyelids grew heavy, a shadow fell across him, small, trembling, human. A voice, soft and uncertain, pierced the haze. "Mister, are you okay?" His cracked lips twitched, unsure if it was a ghost or mercy come to mock him. Then everything went still, the world holding its breath, waiting for his answer. When Taka's eyes flickered open, the first thing he saw was a pair of muddy boots and a little hand holding a dented canteen. The girl couldn't have been more than 8, her sunburned face set with a strange mix of fear and determination. She knelt beside him, tipping water to his lips. It tasted of metal and mercy. "You shouldn't be here," he rasped, voice rough as gravel. She ignored him, pressing a rag to his wound with surprising steadiness. "Mama says good folks don't walk away from the hurt ones." Her accent carried the drawl of frontier settlers, his enemies. He flinched at her touch, pride warring with pain. "You help me, they'll punish you," he warned. She met his gaze without blinking. "Then I'll run faster than they can catch." Despite himself, a faint, bitter smile tugged at his mouth. Somewhere deep inside, beneath the warrior's armor, something fragile stirred. She tore a strip from her dress to bind his shoulder, her small hands trembling. "That'll hold for now," she said. He studied her, confused by her courage, haunted by her kindness. A sound cracked the silence, hoofbeats drawing near. She froze, eyes wide. "They're coming," she whispered. The riders' shouts echoed through the canyon, carried by the wind like a warning. Clara glanced at Taka, pale and trembling, his strength fading fast. "We have to move," she whispered, looping her arms beneath him. He groaned, but she didn't stop. Bit by bit, she dragged him toward the narrow trail that wound up the cliffside. The ground was loose and cruel beneath her boots. Stones slipped, scraping her knees raw. Below, the hoofbeats grew louder, the men's voices sharp and searching. Taka tried to speak, but pain stole his breath. She tightened her grip, jaw clenched with stubborn fury. "Don't you quit on me," she muttered, half command, half prayer. The sun burned her back as she hauled him upward, inch by inch, the canyon spinning beneath them. For every pull, for every heartbeat, his disbelief deepened. How could such a small creature carry such a mighty spirit? Dust filled her lungs, yet she didn't falter. At last, she collapsed beside him at the ridge, gasping for air. For a fleeting moment there was silence. Then a rifle cracked below, a bullet tearing the dirt near her boots. She flinched, clutching his arm. The next shot was closer. Dawn crept slowly across the plains, washing the world in hues of gold and rose. Clara stirred beside him, her arm wrapped in a rough bandage he'd fashioned from his own sash. Below them, the canyon stretched silent, the riders long gone. Taka breathed deeply, feeling the weight of the night slip away with the shadows. For the first time in years, his heart was still. The child beside him, pale, scraped, yet smiling, had done what no warrior could. She had reminded him what it meant to live with honor instead of anger. "You saved me," he said softly. Clara tilted her head, squinting at the sunrise. "Guess we both did," she replied. The faintest smile touched his lips. He looked toward the horizon, where the light kissed the earth, endless and clean. The land still carried its scars, but now he saw beauty in its resilience. Somewhere behind them, a coyote called, lonely yet alive. He rose slowly, steadying himself, and offered his hand. "Come, little hawk." The day's waiting. She took it without hesitation. Together they walked toward the sun, leaving the dust, the blood, and the past behind. If only every war could end with a hand held in peace.